What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back to a new review. Well, most phones today look very similar, they all have the same massive screen, they all have the notch and most of them don't even get an audio jack. So the phone that I have today looks very different and I could even call this design refreshing for 2018. So first of all, we have a smaller screen, we have a 4.5-inch screen, we don't have a notch and we have a full keyboard. So this right here, it's the latest device from Blackberry called the Blackberry KEY2 and I believe you're gonna be able to buy this phone for around $650. For that price we get the Snapdragon 660 processor, and even though this is not as fast as the Snapdragon 845 that we've been seeing in a lot of flagships, this is fast enough for most people and for most things that you're gonna be doing with this phone, including gaming, but we'll talk about that a bit later. We also have 6 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of internal storage. Out of that internal storage we only have about 51 gigs left after the operating system, but the phone can also take an SD card. Now keep in mind that SD card cannot be used as internal storage, so you can still save music, pictures and stuff like that on the SD card, but you're not going to be able to install apps on it. The Blackberry KEY2 is made out of a combination of metal, glass and plastic. So on the front we have Gorilla Glass 3 covering the screen, we also have some plastic around the keyboard, we get a metallic frame, and on the back we have some type of rubberized plastic. Now, even though the phone looks heavy, it only weighs about 167 grams and that makes it very comfortable to use holding it in one hand. On the right hand side of the device we have 4 buttons that are very clicky, so we have the volume keys, we have the power button and what's called the convenience key, and that convenience key can be mapped for any app or any profile or anything like that. So if you're using Google Maps very often you can just map it to that convenience key, or if you're using WhatsApp very often you can map it to that convenience key, so pretty much anything that you desire. Moving to the top of the device, there we have a 3.5mm audio jack and a secondary microphone, and the sound quality from that audio jack is also pretty good, so really no complaints about that. On the left hand side of the device we have the slot for the SIM card, so this device can take an SD card and a SIM card at the same time. And moving all the way to the bottom, there we have the microphone, we have a USB-C port and of course the speaker. Now the speaker gets very loud, but I find that it gets a bit distorted at the maximum volume, so if you're listening to around 80% of the volume it sounds great, but any higher than that it doesn't sound that amazing. That USB-C port supports OTG, so you can plug in any USB stick and the phone can read whatever you have on that USB stick. And the phone also supports fast charging, so charging the device from 0 to 100 is done in about an hour and a half. And since we are talking about charging, well, inside this phone we have a non-removable 3500 mAh battery. So on one charge you're going to be able to make it through an entire day and get between 5 and 7 hours of screen on time. And yes, at the end of each day I had between 25 to 30% left, but to that you're not going to be able to make it through the second day, and that means that you're going to have to charge the phone every single day. And we're moving to the front of the device and starting all the way at the top. So first things first, we have an 8 megapixel front facing camera and we also have an LED notification light that can change colors. The front-facing camera is decent, but definitely not the best that I've seen. So if you have plenty of light, the pictures turn out kind of okay. The dynamic range isn't the greatest, and if you don't have enough light, well, the pictures become kind of blurry and grainy. So the front-facing camera isn't the best out there. The 4.5-inch screen is an IPS panel that has a 1080p resolution. We also get very vibrant colors and great viewing angles, but I wish the screen would get somewhat brighter for the outside, because whenever you go outside it is a bit difficult to see the screen, but overall it is a pretty good screen. Just below the screen we have the navigation buttons, and unfortunately the navigation buttons cannot be moved around from the software, so if you want the back button on the other side, well, that's not possible. As for the sensitivity for the navigation buttons, that's not great either, and you may find yourself having to press the same button 2 or 3 times to get it right, and that could become annoying at times. The keyboard is a bit bigger than the keyboard that we had on the Blackberry KEY1, and that makes it much easier to type on it. The keyboard is also very clicky and very tactile, so it's a pleasure typing on this keyboard, but I don't find this keyboard faster than a virtual keyboard. So I've been using this phone for a couple of weeks now and I've been typing on it every single day, but I still find myself typing faster on the screen on different phones. So yes, the keyboard feels nice to type on, but it's not necessarily faster than if you type on the screen. With the Blackberry KEY1 you could also scroll up and down on the keyboard, and that one worked great, but with this one, well, you could technically scroll up and down on the keyboard, but it doesn't work anywhere as good as it used to be on the Blackberry KEY1. So if you're just touching the keyboard, it kind of works, but if you put any pressure on the keyboard and you scroll up and down, yeah, it doesn't work that well. I'm not sure if that can be fixed to the software update or not, but as of now, scrolling up and down on the keyboard doesn't work that great, and you're gonna have to do that on the screen. And if you do it on the screen, it does work great. Just like with the Blackberry Key 1, you can set different keys to open different apps, so as a shortcut to an app. And now we have a multitasking key as well. So no matter where you are on your phone, if you press that multitasking key and the key that you have assigned for a certain app, you can just open that app. So that works much faster if you're trying to switch in between apps, because normally you'd have to press the multitasking button and then select whatever app you want to switch to. Well, with this one, it doesn't matter where you're in the phone. You just press that multitasking key and then you press the app that you want, and it opens that app right away. So it's much faster. You're going to find yourself missing that key when you switch to a different phone. The spacebar, it's also a fingerprint scanner, and you can unlock the phone by just pressing that spacebar, but I don't find the fingerprint scanner to work that well. So you have to press it twice on multiple occasions. Sometimes it doesn't work. You have to try a different finger and so on. So I find the fingerprint scanner that we used to have on the Blackberry Key 1 to be a bit better than this fingerprint scanner that we have on the Blackberry Key 2. And once again, I'm not sure if that can be fixed to the software update, but as of now, it doesn't work that amazing. And moving to the back of the device, there we have the dual tone flash, the big Blackberry logo, and two cameras. Both cameras are 12 megapixel sensors. The first one has a f1.8 and the second one has a f2.6. So with this device, we can finally take portrait mode pictures. And I have to say that the cameras on the back of this Blackberry are probably the best cameras that I've seen on any Blackberry device. The portrait mode pictures look pretty good and on par with some other high-end devices, but the camera app is a bit confusing at first. So whenever you're trying to record a video, you have to press the camera button and that gets confusing. But after you get used to it, I guess it's alright. But it could definitely be better. Now the picture quality is pretty good, maybe not as good as I've seen from other high-end devices from other companies, but definitely the best picture that I've seen taken by a Blackberry device. And I've actually done a comparison video between the Blackberry Key 2 and the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. So if you want to check that video, I'm gonna leave a link in the video's description or the top right corner. But overall, the daytime pictures taken by the Blackberry Key 2 look very, very good, but at nighttime they don't look that amazing. I mean, they're kind of dark and they become a bit out of focus and grainy. So that could have definitely been improved. But make sure to check that video because I've taken hundreds of pictures and you can definitely tell how good the cameras on the Blackberry Key 2 are. Now let's talk about the software. So like most Blackberry devices, you're gonna get the Blackberry Hub, you get the detect security and of course BBM. But I'm not even sure how many people still use BBM these days when there are all these other messaging services. But anyways, BBM, it's still here. The launcher is alright, but definitely not my favorite, and I went ahead and installed Nova Launcher on this phone, and you can basically install any launcher that you prefer because after all this is an Android device and you can make it look however you wish. But that's just a personal preference. I prefer the Nova Launcher over any other launcher. Now the software optimization on this phone isn't that amazing, so sometimes you're gonna try to open an app, you press that app, nothing happens, then you press the home button, nothing happens, you press the back button, nothing happens, you press that app again, once again nothing happens, and then all of a sudden you get three apps opening at the same time. And that doesn't have anything to do with the Snapdragon 660 processor because that's quite a powerful CPU, and I've seen it in the past for a lot of other phones, and it does work great. So it has to do with the software optimization. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but whenever it happens, it reminds you that you just paid $650 on this phone, and I don't know if that's that amazing. And hopefully this can be addressed in a software update in the near future. I mean, the phone hasn't been released yet, so they have another week or so to push some software updates, but as of now there are some bugs that need to be addressed. If you plan on gaming with this phone, well, gaming it's also possible. And for example, I got to play PUBG on it, and even though it's a bit awkward to hold the phone like this because you have the keyboard on the side, you can still play games like PUBG on it, and I played on medium settings and there were very, very few skipped frames. So overall, this phone is going to be great for gaming, but again, the way the phone looks, it's not ideal for gaming, and this is also not going to be ideal to watch videos because we don't have that big of a screen either. So if you're into gaming and watching videos all day, this phone may not be for you even though you like the keyboard. And it's time to conclude this video. So the Blackberry Key 2 is very different and is definitely not gonna be for everyone. I mean, this phone wasn't intended for gaming or watching videos all day. This phone was mostly intended for productivity. And if you used to have a Blackberry back in the day, well, you're gonna love the keyboard. And even though the keyboard may not be faster than typing on the screen, you can actually type without looking at the screen because you're gonna get used to the keyboard and the way it feels. So for that, yes, the keyboard is awesome. Now, the battery life is decent. I'm not gonna say that it's amazing because it's not amazing. It's gonna make it through an entire day, but not more than that. The cameras are the best cameras that you're gonna get on a Blackberry, but the software isn't perfect. And hopefully that can be fixed in the future of the software update. But as of now, yeah, the software isn't perfect on it. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.